If you're tired of starting over every January and by February being exactly where you started, this video is for you. After losing 13 kilos this year, I realized how you start your year matters, but not for the reasons you think. It's not about motivation or strict routines or waking up at 5 a.m. It's about setting yourself up for success sustainably and realistically. So today I'm sharing how to start a new year to support your fat loss goals without burning you out. The first thing I would recommend you do when watching this video is just taking a deep breath and relax. Honestly, stop with the January overhauls, changing everything on January 1st, because that's literally what's going to burn you out by February. You really cannot build a sustainable year from pressure. I've done this many times before, not only in the new year, but just in general with my fat loss journey, being like, okay, I'll start this Monday, I'll start on this day, and then I'll give everything, I'll change my whole life. And by day 3, I was burnt out and I did not want to do it anymore. So for example, if you are setting goals for this new year, instead of only setting transformation goals and how much weight you want to lose, set momentum goals. So things that are more like habits, goals of not what you want to achieve, but what you want to do throughout the year or throughout your days. Because when you know that, okay, your big goal is losing weight, but what habits and what things actually lead you to losing weight? Because you can't always control the outcome, but you can control what you do on a day-to-day basis. That way, you actually feel like you have a bit more control. You can actually set yourself up for success and just get the ball rolling slowly. Honestly, January should feel like a warm-up to the new year. After the holidays, after having a very slow end of the year, January should not feel like a whole overhaul or boot camp, because it's just a very big contrast to the last month of December that you probably lived. So treat it like a warm-up, treat it like the start, the foundation of your year, instead of trying to change everything. Like, we are not trying to become a new person in 7 days. That's just not realistic. Now, talking about habits again, start with a few stabilizing habits, some foundational habits that will help you. Choose really simple ones that you know you're going to be able to stick to. Maybe they've worked for you in the past. And you know, for example, if you eat breakfast or if you eat a high protein breakfast, that's going to keep you full for quite a long time. And it's just going to support you without having to do too much. Just having a bit more intentionality with what you do in your day-to-day and adding those habits to your life will make a huge difference. My basics, my staples are literally that: the protein breakfast, 2 to 3 strength sessions per week, and just meal rotations that feel good and are easy to make. So this part is about strengthening what already works instead of trying new things. Novelty is really not important right now. You just need to build structure and stability for January, because basically you're not trying to build a whole new life in January at the start of the new year, but you're just trying to stabilize and build the foundation of the life that you do want. I think that another really important mindset shift for the new year would just be to treat January like a low pressure month, knowing that it's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you literally just have to do your few habits, start very slowly, and not have huge expectations on yourself, because as soon as you feel like you failed, you usually will not want to continue because it feels pointless. So choose minimums for January. For example, what's the minimum amount of maybe protein that you want to eat in a day? What does your low effort minimum workout schedule look like in a week? Figure out what you can stick to on your worst days, especially in January, because that's going to actually set you up for success. It's not being crazy ambitious in January. It's literally setting yourself up for success with small things and still feeling like you've achieved something, even if it is the minimum. So January is basically for experimenting, figuring out what you want to do, especially if it's the first time that you're doing this, or even if it's not. But experiment and try out things that work for you in your fat loss and build a fat loss framework for yourself. For me, that is counting calories, listening to my hunger cues, doing strength training 2 to 3 times a week, eating protein, and just having those things that you know that work for you that make it so much easier. Because as soon as you remove friction, as soon as you know what works and what you can actually integrate into your life in a way that makes sense to you, it's just gonna make it become easier and so much more mindless that you can just integrate it into your life without having to think about it too much. So what I suggest is to just keep it very, very simple. Like I said, experiment in January. It doesn't have to be perfect. And honestly, you do not have to necessarily lose weight in January already. You have the whole year. It's going to take a while to lose weight anyways. But if the first month of the year you can actually focus on experimenting and figuring out what works, it's going to go so much quicker and so much easier for the rest of the year or for the next few months. And it's just going to set you up for success. Now, since we're in January, and maybe you've already done some of this in December, did a little reset, but I really would highly recommend you resetting your space and figuring out your environment. How is it going to support you to actually create cues that lead you into the right direction of where you want to go? For example, laying out your workout clothes the day before, even though that's very simple, but sometimes even just seeing them ready is going to help you. Or setting yourself up for success and meal prepping some meals. I don't like meal prepping meals for like the whole week. What I like to do is just one meal that I do a whole batch of, for example, burritos. I freeze 10 of them and then I just have 1 or 2 every week when I do not want to cook. So if you're struggling to meal prep and eat the same thing every day, because I could not do that either, but if you're struggling with that, try meal prepping and then freezing your food, because it lasts so much longer and you can just take it when you feel like it and when you don't want to cook. Now, another very important point is to not only build a goals list of what you want to achieve this year, but more so also who do you want to become? Who actually achieves those goals that you want to achieve. Because ultimately, you want to change your body because of the feeling that it gives you, because of the person that you think you will become. So if you become that person in the process already, that will make the journey so much easier, because then you're aligned with the person that you want to become, that you want to be, and that you ultimately are. And as soon as your identity matches with the habits that you're doing, everything becomes just a lot easier. I think what I want to leave you with is that a gentle start into January and just a new year is going to lead you to a much more sustainable year overall. And personally, I do not like the whole January grind. I love the feeling of January and the feeling of a new year because it's just a fresh start. But I feel like the whole expectation of having to start on January 1st and be like completely harsh with yourself is just unrealistic, because you're not going to be able to keep it up for a long time and you're just going to feel very bad about yourself for not achieving the goals that you've set because you've just set yourself up for failure. I just want to prevent you from going through that again. I really hope that this video helped you and you could just take a few things with you for the new year. And if you want to be consistent all year round and actually stick to your goals this year, then watch this video about why you keep falling off track and how I finally broke the cycle. I really hope that you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that I see you in my next video. Bye!